Hello, nerds, and welcome to Into the Wild, your favourite wildlife and conservation podcast where we look at all things, well, wildlife and conservation.
This is a podcast of curiosity where we know we don't have all the answers.
Oh, that's my co-host Nadia, by the way.
Hi. But it doesn't really matter because we're here to learn and crucially listen to those who are affected by and closest to the issues that we as conservationists tend to pick over from our comfy living rooms.
So strap yourselves in, open up your luggles, grab a brew, and join us as we geek out over nature, share our love for wildlife, rarely take ourselves seriously, all whilst learning. Oh, and we sometimes swear. If you could live in one film universe, what film would you live in?
Such a good question.
Yeah, I feel that.
Whoa.
Are you right?
Yeah.
I mean, don't deep it, just...
So many films are going through my head right now, you know?
Oh, I bet they're really boring films as well. I bet like Angela's Ashes is coming up in your...
No, that is depressing.
The Lego Movie. Good film, though.
Good film. I actually, really weirdly, what was coming through to my head then was Ready Player One.
That is an underrated film.
I love that film.
Underrated. I saw that in the cinema. Random, right? I was doing TV warm-up. It was being filmed in cinema screens because it was a big studio. And I had like 3 hours off. So I just wandered into one of the screens to watch a film, and it was Ready Player One, and I really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Spielberg at his best.
Yeah, absolutely. So what film? So Ready Player One, is that your final answer?
Well, I was thinking that because I was like, you get to go into all these different universes.
You have picked one with, universes. That is a good idea, because you're picking more than one. It's very sneaky.
But the world seems pretty sad in it, like the real world.
Oh, yeah, it's a bit like the Hunger Games.
Okay, no, wait. Do you know what world kind of looked... good. Do you know what I kind of like get off on? This idea that there's a future world where technology has like got so advanced that we've been able to like repair the world because everything's like cyclical, like energy isn't wasted, water isn't wasted, there's no pollution.
Yeah.
People live in like big fancy technological houses, but they look oldie worldy.
Yeah.
And the one I'm thinking of is that one with Tom Cruise.
I have no idea what film you're about.
With the balls.
Tom Cruise with the balls.
Anyway, that's the kind of vibe I'd go for. How about you?
Shrek.
You're right.
Yeah, see? There is a right answer.
Right, you always tell me don't overthink things.
And we're 2 minutes in. To a wildlife podcast.
I haven't even mentioned a single animal.
Nerds, welcome to Nature News Week 12. Lovely to be chatting to you. On to Nature Highlight. What has been your Nature Highlight?
My Nature Highlight this week is pretty basic really. Willow warblers are here. Ryan?
Willow warblers.
Willow warblers.
That's
I
nice.
went to drop an old garden table off at the tip, and as it clattered and banged into the big metal drum, I heard the...
Again, your microphone never picks that up, so it was just silence for me. But when nerds listening heard it, I didn't hear it, but I bet it was beautiful.
That's because you don't like birds.
I erase the noises out of my ears.
So it was just lovely that it was all like I left Butte for a week, came back to Butte, willow warblers everywhere, and I just love when like a certain bird arrives, and it's just like they arrive en masse, and it's just like...
That's nice. Yeah, that's nice. Willow warblers for your highlight. Nice. Enjoy it.
How about you?
Mine's... Oh, which one am I going to pick? Okay. Can I pick two?
Of course you can, love.
This is my podcast.
I'm scared in case another listener contacts and says, why are you so mean to me?
Sharon from Berwick-upon-Tweed. First of all, the cuckoo flowers are out in their prime, and it's just absolutely... There's a massive patch on Hampstead Heath, and it's... I don't know, maybe like... just a huge patch, like this boggy little
You were
wetland.
like, what's the collective?
I was trying to think of a size that I could pick, but I couldn't think of anything. But
a football pitch.
It's not that big. I did think of a football pitch, but for how much do I have to go? An eighth of a football pitch starts to...
No, you could be like the centre circle of a football pitch.
Which I don't even know how big that is. Let's say at least 47 dinner plates. It's just beautiful and pink, and I love it, and I just want to lay down on them, but I'm fearful that I'll crush them, so I don't do that. But the other highlight happened today is that I saw the kestrels going back into their nest that they use every year today on Hampstead Heath as well. So I heard them going like beep, 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 because there was a magpie right near, and then I looked up and it was like hanging on the side of the nest, like looking at the magpie. I was like, off.
It's mine.
It's mine.
It's my owl.
Yeah, it's my owl in this tree every year. Dibs.
Dibs. I wonder whether they do have to. I bet they do kick others out. Things like collar doves.
Something does use it in the winter. It's not kestrels though, but I have seen something going in. I think even squirrels use it in the winter and autumn.
Yeah, just keep warm. But I reckon, to be honest with you, if a kestrel came in and you were there, you'd be like, "Don't worry, I'm leaving."
If I was there, I'd be like, "I think we could share."
I put my hand in a hole in a tree the other day, and do you know what was inside it?
I honestly have no idea.
A chocolate coin.
She's still on the film universe. Okay, lovely. Happy for you for that.
Not big enough for a kestrel.
Sometimes, and it happens.
The size of a tin of beans.
It happens every about 3 months. Nadia will say something, and I genuinely have no words to reply. And if you know me personally, you know that's not often that happens.
He loves replying. Shall we get into it?
Yeah, okay, cool. Right. What would you do if I told you that Daisy, a 6-year-old Lagotto Ramagnolo, and a Kip, a 5-year-old Kelpie cross, are helping to sniff out earless dragons?
Oh my god, this is just my kind of story.
And you know what? This isn't even clickbait. It's not.
Oh, Ryan, why is clickbait when I do it and it's not when you do it?
Because this is an actual story and this is science. It's not just, they're not just woolly mice.
Okay, go on. This is fascinating. I'm listening.
Australia's most imperiled reptile, as it was said in the article I read, there's basically only 200 left. They're thought to have been extinct because they've been seen for about 50 years until a sighting in 2023. But Daisy and Kip have helped sniff out 13 by March this year so far. The 2 dogs, part of the zoo's Victoria Dog Protection Programme, were chosen because they have a very gentle nature. The detection dogs are used a lot, as we know, in kind of police work and in conservation work quite a lot. But they have been used to try and find them. So these earless dragons are called grassland earless dragons. They're tiny, tiny little lizards. 2 other dogs were picked to also sniff out their scat, but their scat is so small they can find it, but also ants eat it. So they can find out where it once was, but the scat is then gone, so it's kind of hard to use. So Daisy and Kip are the main things here that are the main dogs that have been chosen to work with their handlers and find the reptiles. They're so gentle when they do. They found 13 so far, and these lizards nest in the burrows of wolf spiders. So you imagine these huge areas of grassland in Australia. To find 200 lizards is going to take you, visually, it's going to be insanely hard. So these dogs have played an intrinsic part in finding out how the lizards are doing, kind of what needs to be done, where they're actually living, is there hotspots, is there big kind of colonies of these lizards living close together. It's just I think it's a lovely story about how
so nice. What
dogs.
Do they do when they find them?
So they'll locate where the wolves. I think reading from the article, they don't pick them up or anything, or they might pick them up, but they won't play with them. They could just kind of like stand at the wolf spider and they'll kind of like whatever command. And in return, Kip and Daisy either get a treat in the form of food, or they get a ball, or, and I quote, they get a belly rub.
Oh, I want all 3.
A lady called Emma Bennett has researched the effectiveness of detection dogs in searching for rare species and said dogs provided a scent-based search method that was complementary to traditional surveys using visual clues. She said, if something is hidden or camouflaged in a burrow and difficult to see, it might be easier to smell. And as we all know, dogs have an incredible sense of smell and can pick it up. So we could be right on top of these animals sometimes and have no idea they're even there. But with the help of the dogs, they come across them a lot quicker, and obviously it saves a lot of time. She also said, from the dog's perspective, the role of the human is to carry the ball around for when they do find something and then throw it.
Oh, I love that.
Zoos Victoria also trained 2 other dogs, like I said, called Sugar and Moss, to search for dragon scats drop-ins, roughly the size of corn kennels. But it's not as effective as the scent work to actually find the lizards. So it's great news because, A, these animals these earless dragons were thought to be extinct and been seen for 50 years. They are starting to find more and more. They think there's going to be about 200 of them. And the grassland that they live in has actually been lost because of housing development of farmland. There's only 0.5% of that area of habitat remaining from what it once used to be. So as you can imagine, animals like this that rely on that kind of habitat are critical. They're hanging in there. So big shout out to Daisy and Kip for helping find these lizards.
Shout out. Do you know what though? Like, I just feel like there's been a few times on doing this podcast with you where like dogs have been the answer.
I'm just like they're an incredible animal. They have.
I know. I think we really. This is just making. I'm blown away. I think we are really underusing dogs.
Do you actually think we're underusing them? As in, like, effectively.
Like what? Okay, we could train dogs, for example, for older people to take their shopping.
Yes, absolutely. Does that not happen?
No, I feel like. I don't know. I just feel like there's more applications.
What do you want a dog to do for you? Is this where this is going?
Maybe. Like, I almost feel like it would be cool if they... Yeah, okay. I think as I'm coming up with ideas, there's already solutions.
Hello nerds, sorry to interrupt the show. I've just got a wee favour to ask. We always want Into the Wild to be a free and accessible show, but it does cost to run this thing. So if you're sat there thinking, damn, I love this podcast, and you want to help us out, then head over to coffee.com/IntoTheWildPod, where you can make a one-off donation or set up a monthly support. Anything you give really helps and goes straight back into the running of the show. The link is in the write-up of this episode. Anyway, I'll shut up now. Back onto nature news. I have got one more bit of news. This is a bit of... this isn't... Actually, okay, it is clickbait. I've done a Nadia shake and I've picked a bit of clickbait.
Do you know what? I haven't done a me this week, so
I'm
glad you stepped in.
I will take the baton and do a bit of clickbait because...
Feels good, doesn't it?
It does feel good, but also I was let down by the news, I feel. So the headline was... live colossal squid captured on video in the wild for the first time.
Whoa,
I
clicked that.
I was like, I've never seen one. Well, no one has live in the wild. So I was like, I want to see this, right? So it was on The Guardian. I watched the video and I saw it and I was like, that looks quite small. But then it's down in a deep, dark ocean and maybe it's there's nothing to perspective it with. And okay, maybe it's not as big. You know, as these how big do colossal squid get? I think they get huge, don't they? Like, they get like 30 foot.
They're like humongous.
Yeah.
Like the length of a football pitch.
Yeah. They get absolutely huge. And then as I was watching the video, I read down and it said the colossal squid, the heaviest invertebrate in the world, has been filmed live in the wild for the first time since it was identified a century ago. The individual captured on the film near the South Sandwich Islands in the South Atlantic is a baby one at just 11 inches long.
Oh, that's so funny.
So I felt like such a dweeb for clicking on this going, I want to see a big squid. And I have seen the largest squid, just in the baby form.
I think that's news.
It is news. Nerds, check it out. Watch the video. The link is in the write-up of this episode.
Well, for some reason, the way that we've orchestrated this episode is to start with the funny fun news and end with the saddy sad news.
Yeah, I'm all out. So what have you got?
We should plan this better. For the emotional roller coaster of our listeners, Ryan. I'll tell you what, I'm going to give my bit of news, and while I'm doing it, have a think about something funny to say at the end of it, would you?
I always am.
This is the news I'm sure so many people have seen of this incredible ancient oak tree that has been cut down. So in North London.
Oh, yeah.
At a place called Whitewebb's Park in Enfield. This ancient tree thought to be about 500 years old. Is that correct? Because I've seen a couple of different ages.
Yeah, I think the one I saw was between 400 and 500 years old. Yeah, so
yeah. It can be difficult to age trees, but you know, based on its girth of 6 meters, it's a big old oak tree.
6 meters?
Yeah, think about it.
I am.
Yeah.
Wow.
20 foot girth.
Jesus.
Girthy.
Stop it. You're saying that word and smiling at me on this webcam. No one can see this.
How I smile at you is for no one to know other than you. It's a nationally significant oak listed in the Woodland Trust's Ancient Tree Inventory. So what seems to have happened here is that the link to the Toby Carvery...
Yeah, sorry, that's like...
It's just like, it's one of those things. Basically, they were like, that tree looks like it's going to be dangerous to the general public and our employees and guests. We have a duty of care to them.
As they often are.
Let's get a tree person to come in. Tree person comes in and says, yeah, health and safety. We can't have that next to where people are going to be. So, we'll give it some cutting. And upon cutting it, it's like, actually, this got old bits. It makes it even worse. We just need to remove.
This news story is actually worthy of the sentence, it's health and safety gone mad.
It's utterly heartbreaking. Somebody here was quoted, who was a member of the Guardians of White Web's group. The tree belonged to Enfield and to our national heritage. I am devastated. We have now placed a legal protection on the tree, which is a TPO, tree protection order, and we're looking ways to help it grow back. It's just really shocking. It feels like a loss, and I feel like I'm really struck this week because this week I spent some time with the sperm whale that died on Bute last week that is now just sat at the edge of the bay. I just went and sat with it, this giant carcass, and just these ancient creatures.
Yeah.
Who are literally just being brought down because of our actions. It's amazing that a 200-year-old building can be listed and it is illegal to do anything to it, but a 500-year-old tree, which is part of our kind of like human, like as an animal, it's our
you're actually connected to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel connected to it. I feel really sad.
No, well, you are. Yeah, you absolutely are.
And as someone that lives in North London, Ryan, how did it land with you?
I was very sad. The first thing it made me think of is my favourite oak tree on Hampstead Heath, and I thought, how would I feel if that got chopped down? How would I feel if it got knocked down in a storm? But if I knew it had been chopped down mindlessly, yeah, I would be so sad because like I don't know. I'm maybe preaching to the choir with you nerds and yourself, Nadia, but like trees like that. If you have a tree that you visit regularly and you just love and you sit by it in times where you want a bit of shade or you just want to go and see your favourite tree, or if you're feeling down. I've sat by this tree when my granddad passed away, when both my grandparents and my nan passed away. I sat by it. When I've gone through like personal issues, I've gone and sat by it, and it just brings me this sense of peace, and it becomes like, and this will be the most cliche thing I've probably ever said on the podcast, but it does become like a support, like a friend. Like this kind of thing.
Well, I think they're ancestors.
You get it. I'm breathing the air it's given out. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm sat round it and it's like, you're giving me oxygen, I am breathing. Like,
but also just like I think there's something that really important for us as humans within our psyche to be around. This is why people like to live in old houses. There's something about being around things that are older than us.
Yeah.
And something ancient that grounds us with a sense of humbleness, that our little problem that we're whining about isn't that important. And I do think that old trees are ancestors in that they have been on this land that we are connected to, and they're connecting us to the past, and they do give you wisdom, they give you shade, they give you oxygen. They're the place where you might gather and have a picnic, and then during that picnic you have a revelation about something that's been bothering you. That just the multitude of these structures, it's like a cathedral.
It's very much the same thing. They have meaning to us. They have they just have they have so many things. They're monuments in their own natural way, and I straight away went to my like visually in my head went to the tree on Hampstead Heath that I go and see, and I just felt very sad because I just thought, how would I feel if that was that?
And I also just feel like in London, like I know London's got a lot of green spaces, but like, come on.
London's also got a lot of old trees as well, because people have been planting trees here intentionally for hundreds and hundreds of years, and I know they exist all around the UK. But London is a city that does have that because it's
but there's going to be more people who had an emotional relationship with that tree than an oak tree out in the middle of
That's what I mean, because people know about it. So many people here, they've been intentionally planted, and people remember that, and it's been passed down for hundreds and hundreds of years. And
the outrage.
Yeah, it's so sad. I mean, I know that from being on the heath with the dog walkers. You know, in storms when trees come down, it comes onto the dog walker WhatsApp group that, oh my God, have you seen that birch tree that's come down and stuff?
I feel upset that the Sycamore Gap tree got more coverage. I feel like I still want this to be headline news. Anyway, well, that was my news this week. I think it's just interesting as well, I guess, for us to consider the local ancient trees near where you live, and just check with the Woodland Trust if it is on the tree inventory. And if you really think it's a special or ancient tree that could be at risk, get a tree protection order on it. It's not the be all and end all. It's complicated legality around TPOs and actually what they can do. But look out for your kind of tree ancestors where you live, and be a guardian of it.
We'll put in the write-up of this episode, actually, a link to, or a couple of links just to help guide you with stuff like that and do a bit of reading. If you do know, if you live in an area with a green space and you've got some old trees, or like Nadia said, if it's just a tree that means a lot to you, it doesn't even have to be an old tree. If it's just something that means a lot to you, have a bit of a check and see what you can do to help. Yeah, because like we said, these are monuments in their own way. And they give so much more than they take, these trees. Well, thanks. Sorry, I didn't think of anything funny to say at the end of your news.
Oh God. God no. Let's brush over that.
Oh, the other bit of news we could talk about. How long we got? We got about a minute. The other bit of news: millionaires in space.
Oh God, right. Do you know what? I'm really annoyed by the millionaires in space.
Yeah, me too.
But seeing you kiss the ground in London on social media,
it's my new thing. I'm doing it. After any activity that takes no effort or skill, I'm kissing the ground just like Katy Perry.
Dramatic. He's so dramatic.
Do you know what I mean? No. If it's good enough for the millionaires, mate, it's good enough for me. I can do it. Kiss the ground.
Made it. The world needs you, Ryan.
I know. Okay, just honestly, to hear them all talk afterwards, I feel so connected to love. You got an Uber up to the atmosphere to do this and then came back down.
I just can't even bring it into my... It feels so far away from me right now.
It's mad. I heard there was one woman caller on a morning program who said, well, my main issue was the shape of the rocket because it looked like a penis.
Oh, they all look like penises.
Her main issue was the shape, and I thought, is that where we're at? That's where we're at.
I love it when people are like, they do things like that where they're like, my main issue with it is this, and it's the kind of thing. But no, let me just say it. I feel like I feel a bit guilt free now about going to Marbella.
This is it. Anyway, nerds, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nature News, week 12. If you haven't tuned in to Journey Back to Namibia episode 3, make sure you do so. It's available there, Food and Farming, where we talk to 2 farmers in rural Namibia about how they're adapting during the climate crisis and the severe drought. Sounds very serious, and it is very serious, but we keep it light, do not worry. If you're not following us on socials, you know what to do by now. All the links are in the write-up of this episode. If you can spare any pounds, pennies, or whatever you've got and you'd like to chuck it towards your favourite nature and conservation podcast, you can do so at coffee.com/intothewildpod. Whatever platform you're listening on, if you're able to, give us a review. But until next week, look after yourselves, stay happy, we're with you. See you later.